it's like critical race theory and Antifa and all this sort of stuff. These are like all Republican concoctions, okay? Like they are fabrications and like idiotic things that are, I mean, they're real. Anti-fascism is a real action, just like critical race theory is a concept that is taught in like undergrad courses, shit like that, right? But because conservatives can't run on like the actual issues that they truly believe in, like, you know, an anarcho-capitalist utopia where poor people, regardless of whether they're white or black, get melted into biomatter once they are no longer useful to the production capabilities of American industry. Because they can't run on that, like, they run on like these fucking fabrications, these like things that they concoct and turn into like big problems. And this is the new thing. It's like trans girls participating in like high school sports, which is like not even remotely a fucking issue. Like not even remotely an issue. And you're just making it an issue. And now it's critical race theory. It was Antifa. And now it's fucking critical race theory. Like, bitch, you don't know what critical race theory is. Like, you have no idea what it is. Like, you're just... I mean, here, let's take a look.
Well, a big crowd came out to the State Board of Education meeting today to make their voices heard. The major focus, what kids should and should not learn in history class. Things getting so heated at one point, officials had to take a break.
They don't stop
Of John Copenhaver
so
on
you could
JCS,
hear the crowd chanting, allow teachers to
channel.
teach the truth. Several people in that room speaking up for and against teachers discussing
Here you go, by the way. Blast this shit out, boys.
On society in the classroom.
The teacher's responsibility is only to teach them what's supposed to be taught in school, not their opinion.
Okay. So if the government says critical race theory is supposed to be taught in school, then what? Owned. Absolutely fucking cumstered, Karen. Shut the fuck up. There you go.
8 months,
Great argument, dude. Great fucking argument, dude. I didn't realize. It's just... Okay.
Hassle.
So stupid.
How can educators expect to teach history accurately without talking about race and racism? How can you discuss the civil rights movement without discussing race and racism?
Ultimately, though, the board decided to ban critical race theory from being taught in Florida schools. News 6's Amanda Castro is live in the newsroom with more on the contentious meeting and how leaders ultimately made their decision. Amanda.
Well, Ginger, supporters like Governor Ron DeSantis say this new rule is all about teaching the facts of our history, while opponents say it's politicizing classroom instruction.
If critical race theory is not about, if critical race theory is like factually incorrect or whatever the fuck they deem to be critical race theory, then why did Texas decide to do like a Texas secedes from Mexico project where like part of the reason why Texas literally was no longer a part of Mexico was so that they could maintain their rights to, you know, have slaves, to continuously enslave black people. And like Greg Abbott literally named their counter to the 1619 project, the 1836 project, to, you know, commemorate that move. Or was it 1863 project? Sorry, I fucked it up. I fucked up the date. But yeah, so very odd that they're like, no, you don't get to say slavery was bad, which is why we need to show the truth about.
Can't believe it's been.
Oh, I was right.
The good work, Hassie.
Oh, fuck you, chatter. I was right, you bitch. You can't say slavery was bad, which is why I need to do a project called Slavery is Good.
7 months, Pogo. Only 3 more till I turn into a reactionary and have a take that gets.
Am I wrong, or is this basically PC going too far and flipped? No, this is a completely nonsensical thing that the Republicans have astroturfed and whipped up into a frenzy because Joe Biden isn't black. And they got too fucking lazy in the 8 years of Obama where they could just literally be like, he's black. And then everyone would be like, you're right. You're right. That means he's goddamn un-American. So then like Trump came, and now Joe Biden, in comparison to Trump, is like an old white guy who is like, he looks presidential and shit. So they can't get mad at that. So they have to find new shit to get mad at. Because once again, they can't actually be upset at the issues. Like, what? You think Republicans, you think they're going to be able to whip up people in a frenzy to be like, to be angry that like we are trying to put together a infrastructure bill? No.
5 months, baby. Love you, Arjan. Best thing that's ever happened to this shut-in.
You know what I mean? Like they can't fucking they can't get upset about like the infrastructure bill also including broadband. So they have to fucking get mad at this dumb shit and like create an issue out of nothing. Isn't it funny how you vote into a Democrat majority and the Republicans get everything they want with zero backlash? Yeah, I mean, you know.
Love you, Arjan. Thanks for everything you do.
It's because they just want to destroy America. It's like easier to destroy America than it is to build a progressive future. Papa Gut in his response to you? No, I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway. The whites are bad rhetoric is equally as damaging to healing a nation. What whites are bad rhetoric are you referencing, you dumb, fragile little bitch? Like, what is this whites are bad rhetoric, dude? You think that's what they're fucking teaching at schools? Like, whites are bad? If you automatically take ownership over, I don't know, the history of slavery and like seek to defend it, or the Confederacy and seek to defend it, then you are a bad white. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. But if you recognize the horrific history of colonialism and slavery and be like, that's not my fault, I didn't do it, but you know, that was bad, and we should repair those, we should right those wrongs of the past, then you're not a bad white. So shut the fuck up, chatter, who's like, oh, the whites are bad rhetoric. Like, what is this incredibly fragile nonsense, dude? Like, I don't even get mad when motherfuckers are like, you did the Armenian genocide, okay? Like, it's a fucking ridiculous take to be like, every time I talk about anything, it's like, well, what about the Armenian genocide? It's like, bitch, I admit it. I recognize it. What do you want me to do? Right? Like, what the fuck do you want me to do? And people will falsely be like, you love the Armenian genocide. Actually, you did the Armenian genocide. And you're responsible for it personally. And I'm still like, dude, shut up. And we move on. Meanwhile, you absolutely have no reason to take ownership of any of that shit. And yet you do for some reason. Half the time, critical race theory is literally just like, it's just like whatever the fuck these people have decided critical race theory is. You think they're teaching critical race theory, like actual critical race theory, in fucking, in like elementary school? What are you, stupid? That's why I'm having this like broader conversation over it. CRT is just a bullshit introductory, like it's not even an introductory, but like it's like a college course for the most part. That's the most you're ever going to see critical race theory or anything like that, or anything that resembles it. Okay? And ultimately, it is not good. Like, it's not actually educating anybody on anything. It's just facts for the most part. But it's pretty much the worst possible way to, in my opinion, educate people, specifically white people, on white privilege and shit like that. Okay? It's just looking at, like, the racial dynamics between black people and white people and acknowledging that as a consequence of historical segregation, slavery, and all the things that I've talked about every single fucking day and continuously talk about every single fucking day as it pertains to race and black history, but described in a way that is a little bit infantilizing, a little bit patronizing, not patronizing, sorry, and weirdly like riddled with white guilt. Okay, that's it. I already acknowledged that there's systemic racism. I already acknowledged that there's systemic racism. You ignored my point. Like, claiming that it like demonizes white people or it's anti-white is idiotic. You know why it's idiotic? Because it's ineffective, okay? That's why. Because it's ultimately ineffective as fuck. I don't think that anyone, like, or at least the way it's like taught, or the way we see it in like Raytheon, white male education seminars and shit. I don't think anyone that goes and watches that shit is like, oh wow, I recognize my whiteness now. No, critical race theory is a in the way that it's like used in these corporations, is simply a way to churn out motherfuckers who will still be racist as fuck, but at least know better and won't like, they'll put a black square on Instagram for Black Lives Matter. That's it. That's what that's what it is. That's why I say it's like ineffective. Or at least the way that we recognize what critical race theory is. You're talking about something that's not critical race theory and then attributing it to critical race theory. What? Because everything is critical race theory. Critical race theory is like critical race theory in the way that Republicans understand it, or the way that like the mainstream media fucking understands it and comprehends it, is like the edge shit that you see, the seminars that you hear about like acknowledging my whiteness and privilege. And also on top of that, literally everything that Republicans consider to be history that is accurate for the most part. Okay? I don't have a problem with it in any capacity. And it's also...
Everyone can agree
it's just whatever.
Bad, but
like,
when we criticize that white group, no one says it's an attack on white people.
I literally started this conversation by talking about like what Republicans have decided critical race theory is. I'm just letting you know that like that's not what it actually is. It's critical race theory originally is a I think it's a term specifically created for criminal justice and racial disparities and the racial dynamic within the criminal justice system. But that's not what the fuck people are using it for. So I just have to like acknowledge that it's completely bastardized and incorrect now and talk about what Republicans are actually criticizing as critical race theory. Do you get what I'm saying? Actual CRT is definitely important in the legal context. That's not the context that Republicans talk about it, though. Yeah, there is no, like, absolutely zero people are, like, that's not being taught in, like, a fucking elementary school in Georgia. You know what I mean? So that's the Republican perspective, then. Not what CRT is, or am I missing it? It doesn't matter. Because they're using it as anything and everything. Anyway, let's keep watching.
All in favor, say aye.
Oh, by the way, the fucking main guy from the Manhattan Institute, which we've looked at before, has like openly admitted that this is the game. We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all of the various cultural insanities under that brand category. The goal is to have the public read something crazy in the newspaper and immediately think critical race theory. We have decodified the term and will recodify it to annex the entire range of cultural constructions that are unpopular with Americans. That's literally like, this is one of the main dudes that works for the Manhattan Institute, that works for the think tank, that, you know, concocts new ways of creating like anti-SJW initiatives, basically. To actually, this guy gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay, this motherfucker who's like a Yale grad himself, you know, or I think he was a Georgetown grad. We looked up his background. Like, you know, he went into the Manhattan Institute as a think tank, and he gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to figure out new culture war issues that the Republican Party can get on board with. That's it. That's all it is. So beyond like the framework of analyzing criminal justice and like the racial disparities in criminal justice, critical race theory now is more broadly used as a framework to understand racial disparities in most parts of life. Okay? But even then, it is purely academic. Okay? This is like an academic concept. It has nothing to do with like, this is absolutely nothing to do with like what your fucking kids are learning in school. Okay? That's it. And it's not new to do something like this. It's not new to like disparage the actual. It's not new to disparage actual history and actual initiatives that seek to educate people. It's not new to do any of that. I mean, this is like what the Daughters of the Confederacy successfully did in the South, and that's why, depending on what school you go to in the South, like your understanding of the Confederacy is bastardized and whitewashed greatly. You know what I mean? Are you deliberately ignorant, or is it just a gifting? What? I'm confused by what you're... Please explain yourself. Anyway. So yeah, let's watch the rest.
Aye.
The State Board of Education unanimously passing a new rule, changing how history is taught in public schools. It bans critical race theory, which a UCF professor defines as a, quote, theoretical perspective and practice for examining the role of race and racism in society. Governor Ron DeSantis speaking in favor of the new rule, saying education needs to be grounded in facts.
Idiot.
Some of this stuff is, I think, really toxic. I think it's going to cause a lot of division.
Like what? Like what? And once again, it's fucking idiotic, dude. It is so idiotic. Especially because, like, what are you banning? Like, what are you upset about? Like that like, you know, systemic racism exists? That's it. That's what you're upset about. You don't want to fucking, you just... Always, dude. It's always the same with racists and conservatives in general. It's like the mere mention of racism existing in society is significantly worse than racism itself. Because they're privileged as fuck, okay? Maybe they should have gotten a little bit of critical race theory.
I think it'll cause people to think of themselves more as a member of a particular race or based on skin color, rather than based on the content of their character and based on their hard work and what they're trying to accomplish in life.
At least 16 states are considering or signed into law bills that limit how schools frame American history. But News 6 learned most school districts in Central Florida don't teach critical race theory. Opponents chanting.
So, like, how do you explain slavery and segregation without, like, engaging in... How do you explain slavery, abolition of slavery, and then segregation without mentioning, like, skin color? If you are anti, like, the mere mention of skin color. Like, do you just say that, like, those black people were bad? They, like, happened to be bad, and that's why they were enslaved? Is that the content of their character then? Like, is that what the argument is? Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you describe history accurately without like mentioning the racial disparities, because racist people at the time, or white supremacists at the time, weren't like, you know, I'm judging you on the content of your character, brother, not the skin color. Like, it kind of was the heart of the whole like racism thing. Like, white supremacy is not like the one drop rule that is still in effect to this day, which is why Obama is not considered a white president, but Obama is considered a black president. Just remember that. Like, that wasn't on the one drop rule is about the content of your character, brother. Goddamn controversial. They'll be like, we need to keep these Confederate statues outside of courthouses that were built in like 1964 up because, you know, you're erasing history, while simultaneously being like, but we should erase history in the way that and tell it in a way that like makes the races look good.
And interrupting the meeting at one point, speaking out saying teachers should be allowed to teach the truth, including an 8th grader who says CRT needs to be in the classroom.
When people are too afraid to have the conversation, how will we ever progress? Teaching students about critical race theory takes away the fear factor and creates a safe space for conversation. If we know better, we do better.
And the State Department of Education is still finalizing the new education standards known as the BEST standards. They haven't been released yet, but will include foundational concepts in social studies, social sciences, and civics classes. Now, we are reaching out to all of our local teachers unions to get reaction to today's vote. We'll have the very latest coming up in my story at 5 o'clock. Live in the newsroom, Amanda Castro, getting results, News 6.
So, it's idiotic. It's idiotic as fuck because, like, it's being used as against everything. And now it's like a non-issue that has turned into something that is manufactured outrage that people are getting mad at. They don't know what it is. It's like when Republicans were like, I hate Obamacare. I hate Obamacare. But the ACA that allowed me to get my, a 26-year-old under my healthcare coverage, that's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. I do have a pre-existing condition, and now that my insurance company can't deny me coverage, I like that. But I hate Obamacare. Obama. Like, oh, okay. It's good that you hate Obamacare while simultaneously preaching all the things that happened in Obamacare. That's nice.
Critical race theory. Our ABC Action News in-depth reporter Anthony Hill is digging deeper into this topic and how it became popularized.
Critical race theory has become a hot and divisive topic. And with all the misinformation, it's made it more difficult to engage in dialogue and healthy debate on how we educate students from our nation's history to current social disparities. I spoke with several education experts to explain what it is and how it would theoretically look in the classroom.
I think there's a good deal of misunderstandings of critical race theory and how it's applied.
So what is critical race theory? Many scholars define it as a framework to help explain how and why racial inequities still exist in our society.
Often people think about racism as individual acts of bias or bigotry, but really CRT helps us understand the ways that racism is a system.
Proponents of critical race.
That's why they're mad, because it's like, it's the truth. It's making blacks look oppressed. Hey guys, the black understander has logged on. Are you guys ready? Oh, fuck. What happened? We missed them. Did someone ban them? Dude, come on. I was reading their take, Fizz. God damn, you're quick. It's making blacks look oppressed and that they can't make it out there in the world because of a certain race, dude. Oh, that's already like very clearly a fucking baiter. Okay, got it. That's why they got clapped. Do you support CTR? China is getting ready for a nuclear war with America. What the fuck? What? Jews are the ones that are supposed to lead, guide, direct us? Okay, well, now I don't feel too bad clapping this dude. Anyway, it's because of institutional things within the structure of America which causes this imbalance, combined with Americans who are racist. Anyway, they're more afraid of CRT being taught lazily or abusively, but most people are okay with a historically grounded, quantified academic CRT. Yeah, dude. You're right. Every fucking hog that I ever have seen is always like, I want to make sure that CRT's not being taught lazily or abusively. They rob it of the class perspective oftentimes, and that dynamic is a fundamental part of intersectionality, brother. I want historically grounded, quantified academic critical race theory, and not actually the whitewashed pro-capitalist version that is simply a distraction from the class consciousness that could be bred amongst our younger generation. I want dialectical materialism, brother. That's what they're saying. I mean, dude, everyone always is saying that. Finally, somebody gets me. Yeah. I'm sick of this heteronormative white, Western heliocentric patriarchal constructs being taught in our school. But my anger of this issue resides around not including a dialectical materialist perspective. Okay.
Race theory argue that that system has lasting effects and impacts the lives of people of color today.
We don't want to just tell certain aspects of history. We want to be able to tell all aspects of history so that our children are coming out of the school systems K through 12 with a deeper understanding of what society is, what it was, and how to move forward, how we can make it even better.
Whoa, calm down there, buddy. They don't even know half the words you just said even means. Don't worry about it.
Critical race theory was started back in the 1970s by legal scholars and activists as a way of examining laws and power structures through the lens of race.
And acknowledge
How dare you?
That there are different outcomes for different people, and that perhaps justice is not blind.
Just so you know, the Discord notification never sent. Let's check in with the Discord here, brother. What the fuck's going on here? I mean, everybody in the Discord already knows, but I don't know if you're correct or not. Let's see. Wait. Is it Hasanabi updates? I don't even know where the fuck it is. No, Kuro sent it. Yeah, at 10:57. He did. He already did, brother. You're fucking wrong. Why is your chat so toxic? Sometimes people need to chill. I don't understand it. Why are we teaching middle schoolers this? First of all, like, depending on what we're talking about, I think educating middle schoolers on systemic racism is absolutely a good thing. Why the fuck would you not? Like, that's so dumb. Like, what is this, like, shielding children from history mentality? Like, what kind of weird puritanical idiotic take is this? Like, oh man, I don't want middle schoolers to learn about our history.
It's made its way into different academic disciplines as one of the many lenses used to critically analyze society.
Critical race theory is not taught as an actual subject in K through 12 classrooms. However, proponents would like to see it used as one of the ways to teach history and civics.
We want our teachers, we want our school leaders to be able to look at phenomena through different lenses.
One of the concerns is that looking at history through the lens of critical race theory would have a detrimental effect on white children and portrays white people as inherently racist.
Teaching kids to hate their country.
Like, that's the shit I don't understand. Like, and this plays so well. It's like, no, they're not fucking saying, like, that's not true. I know people are fucking saying, like, based, it is true, white people are inherently racist, all this shit, but, like, that's not what fucking critical race theory is, or that's not how it's being taught. And in the edge cases that we do see it as being taught like that to, like, adults or whatever, that's not even fucking critical race theory. And beyond that, that's idiotic and also ineffective. Does every Republican just mindlessly dismiss systemic racism? Yes.
And to hate each other is not worth one red cent.
That's not the purpose of critical race theory. It's really the opposite, you know, to help us to be.
What the fuck do you think middle school kids will think? Dude, are you fucking stupid? I mean, yes, you are stupid. If you think that, like, talking about systemic racism, the middle schoolers is going to automatically mean, like, white bad, black good, or some fucking idiotic thing, then, like, you know, maybe you should go back to middle school and learn a little bit of critical race theory. Because the counter to this always is just like, let's not talk about history. That's what it is. This moral panic about CRT was always about white people not wanting to be uncomfortable for a minute and self-reflect on their place in society and history. Are you going to watch a game show today? What game show? What?
Be more inclusive, to help us to be more empathic, to help us to analyze, to be able to look at phenomena.
There's a reason why motherfuckers come in here and go, oh my God. Like, I was alt-right as fuck. I was a total fucking reactionary shithead. Or I was just a delusional liberal. And I've learned more about, like, the history of racism and white supremacy interwoven into the fabric of American society. I learned more about that here than I ever did in, like, 20 years of education. Because this shit's not taught in schools. Okay? That's it. That's pretty much, that's the reason why people are like, what? I didn't know about, you know, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. Like, because people don't teach it.
Daddy.
Father destroys critical race theory in heartwarming video with daughter. Oh, God.
With a critical eye.
Another concern is that it will divide students based on race.
If anything, it actually brings them closer together. It actually allows them to communicate with one another.
Proponents of critical race theory argue that how we currently teach American history lacks depth.
Can you imagine if they made this same argument about, like, World War II and Nazis? I mean, I guess if we allowed Republicans to go buck wild, you know, some of them would literally make that argument. Like, 2016 was a weird time when I feel like they almost felt like they could make that argument. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's weird to just, like, it's weird to have a situation where you're just like, I'm sorry, you're really not showcasing the humanity of Nazis when you're talking about World War II. Like, the dehumanizing terms that you use against Nazis is very divisive. Like, I talk about how it's not wise to ascribe normative values to history, with two exceptions, okay? When you're talking about history, oftentimes, like, you're not supposed to, you know, say, like, well, this was a bad thing to do by today's standards. This was a good thing to do by today's standards. Like, unless you're specifically explaining it as a good or bad thing. Usually most historians don't do that, though, right? But the two exceptions are fucking slavery and Nazis, okay? That's it. Those are literally the two exceptions. So Republicans are like, we want to take away one of those exceptions, please. Are you watching the Turkey? See, I told you guys. Didn't I tell you? Did I not tell you that fucking chat was going to be hella annoying about the Turkey versus Italy game? Can you just state for the chat that you don't give a fuck about soccer or this Euro soccer shit so I can clip it and ship it to every fucking loser spamming about soccer matches? Yes. I do not give a single shred of a fuck about soccer, football. I don't care. I don't care that Italy's playing against Turkey. I literally do not care. I do not care at all, dude. Okay? So chill out. Please stop fucking spamming the chat. What I do care about, however, is the top of the hour ad break that's coming right now. And I care about if you would like, I care about telling you that if you'd like to avoid those ads, or if you want to support the show in general, you can subscribe. You can subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or you can use an ad blocker or a VPN to try to avoid the ads. I don't know which ones work, but you know, they're out there. So here's the 1 minute ad break now.
And doesn't exactly teach all of our history. Opponents argue that it could create racial divide between students in the classroom. In Tampa, I'm in-depth reporter Anthony Hill, ABC Action News.
Why was that so dramatic in the end?
Teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and
dude, this is my least favorite kind of video. Like, okay, listen. I'm going to say this. Maybe some people are going to get mad, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. First of all, like, no one is the representative of all black people, okay? Like, black people are also capable of being very fucking stupid about issues. They're also capable of being very conservative. Like, just because someone is like a black father and I agree with what he's saying does not mean that he's correct. Okay? God, Sky News. Jesus Christ. No, sorry, I'm wrong. This is the CEO of all black people.
It doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
Doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow. Right?
Why is it that like videos that pop off like this are always made by dudes who have like, who just exude this like multi-level marketing energy? I don't know how to describe it. Okay. But like, I know for a fact that this dude is into some MLM shit. Okay. Straight up. It's always like, man, all my losses were lessons. And also, I'm a fucking lion, dude. I'm a lion. And I don't care about the opinions of sheep. Like it's literally, it's always coming from like hustle Instagram.
Black. And how we treat people is based on who they are and not what color they are.
And if they're nice and smart.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that. Not with my children. It's not gonna happen. My baby's gonna know that no matter what she wants to be in life, all she has to do is work hard, and she can become that.
Work hard, even though.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy that like you know, black people learn about the legacy of slavery, and then automatically they're like, oh fuck, I can't be anything now. You've robbed me of my interest in succeeding. This dude is definitely like, he 100% has like a hustle Instagram account. 100%.
Oh, you don't know anyone? You can make friends.
Yeah, you can make friends no matter what color they are. So we need to stop CRT. Period. Point blank. Children do not see skin color, man. They love everybody. If they're good people, they love them.
We pray for people that are hurt.
That wasn't even that good. Like, you only said that's good because it's a black dude and his daughter. Like, you literally exclusively said this is a good dismantling of critical race theory because it's a black dude saying critical race theory is bad. Straight up, dude. That was not a destruction at all. He just said, like, what did he address? He addressed nothing. He just said critical race theory is bad, and I'm not going to teach my daughter that. And conservatives are like, hell yeah, brother. You fucking tell him. If I see you in my neighborhood, property values are going down, so stay the fuck out. But also, I'm with you. Just stay far away. But I'm with you, brother. Won't give you a loan, but I'm with you. You're one of the good ones. You know? A heartwarming video has gone viral. It's super heartwarming. Critical race theory originated in the 1980s and argues that traditional liberal-based policies towards combating racism is not effective. Okay. Argues that racism and the history of slavery is embedded within all aspects of American life. I mean, literally true. Okay. The practice has been criticized. It argues racism is so pervasive and insidious, white people may not be aware of how the society benefits them. Also literally true. Like, the same motherfuckers who are like, critical race theory is bad, also argue against this. Like, it argues that racism is so pervasive and insidious, white people may not be aware of how society benefits. The entire argument revolving around critical race theory is that, like, white people shouldn't learn that they might have privileges based on, like, you know, historical context. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, you're kind of proving the point, you know what I mean? Like, and also, I know that there's, like, new people in here, so I'm just going to briefly go over this one more time. White privilege does not mean, like, that a white homeless person is more privileged than a black billionaire woman Oprah, okay? That's not what white privilege is. So don't be a fucking idiot, all right? It just means that in similar economic and similar socioeconomic conditions, a white person is going to have an upper hand than a black person. And the reason for that is because of generational segregation, or the generational setbacks that black people have been subjected to. First, because they were ripped away from their fucking culture and robbed of their ethnicity and identities and treated as slaves and as subhumans for a very long time. And then also segregated. And that segregation still continues to this day, right? So, sorry, but not always? What? What do you mean? White privilege simply means that you are not going to be discriminated against on the basis of your skin color. Like, if you are white, no one is going to be like, oh, you're a white person, like, fuck you. And that doesn't mean, like, someone is discriminating against, or someone is being, like, annoying to you because they're like, you're a white person, sit down. Like, I don't want to hear you. Like, that's not systemic discrimination, okay? That's someone being ridiculous. Chill the fuck out. It's not like a job opportunity that, like, you were passed on, or multiple job opportunities you were passed on. I know that there is a lot of white people who are going to say, no, actually, these diversity initiatives are the reason why I'm getting passed on. No, that's not what's happening. It's ironically anti-white. They're basically saying that white people are too big of pussies to be able to handle or acknowledge their own privilege or history, which is also kind of true. I mean, yeah, it's heartwarming. The practice has been criticized by conservatives and even some liberals. Segregation happens today. Okay. The simplest way to describe it is, if I took all of your money away from you, okay? If I took all of your money away from you, if I took your humanity away, and then I enslaved you for 100 years, and then there was a big war that I fought and lost, over continuing to enslave you in 100 years and like the next of kin. I rape you, I fucking enslave you, and then, you know, your children, I rape them too. I fucking use them as you know, non-human entities of production. I sell you, and then I lose the war, and then I still decide, like, you know what? Actually, yeah, you're still fucked up and you're still bad. I'm gonna use you as a way to make sure that, like, you know, poor white people don't feel as bad about their situation, because ultimately there will still be someone that's better off than you. Okay, so you're 100 years in already. You're like 100 years in. You've taken like 100 years of not being treated as a human being. Then in the aftermath of abolition, in the Reconstruction era, I decide like you're still a second-class citizen, and I push you into ghettos. I purposely don't allow you to, like, you know, frequent the same establishments. I don't let you go to the same schools. That's another 100 years. Okay? That's another 100 years of that. And then what? Like, do you think automatically shit's going to be fine? Just because, like, segregation has been eliminated? Do you not recognize that, like, there is still a historical significance there? Like, you and your family have been enslaved and also segregated against and discriminated against systemically for 2 centuries. What the fuck are you going to do? How are you going to recover from that? Magically. And even then, even in the aftermath of that, there's still motherfuckers who are like, no. I don't want to admit that any of this even happened. Like, there's people fighting you in positions of power every step of the way. All of these institutions are designed in a way to make sure that, like, you stay in that subjugated position. I don't give money to your schools. I push you off into areas. I don't allow you to purchase homes in my neighborhood. Okay? I don't allow your children to purchase homes in my neighborhood. I don't give you loans. I don't give you the same opportunities. I take away opportunities from you, even if you're engaging in the same kind of action that I'm engaging in and my children are engaging in. How do you expect there to be, like, equality after that? How do you expect people to just be like, lift yourself up by your bootstraps while you're constantly kicking motherfuckers in the moment that they're trying to lift themselves up by their bootstraps? I take money from your pocket in the form of taxes and then literally pay a dude in a nicer neighborhood 3 blocks down to come into your neighborhood with the guns that you paid for and kill you. That money could have gone to your community and your schools, but instead it went to the literal pockets of some fucking racist asshole, okay, with a chip on his shoulder, who then comes into your fucking neighborhood with guns and kills you and treats you like a fucking criminal, like an occupier. It's just wild. It actually is, like, remarkably wild that people refuse to recognize that. Like, dude, you get fucking traumatized when people say some shit to you and you think about that for like a year. You think about like an awkward interaction that you had for like a week at least. How do you think generations of systemic discrimination that was legalized, that people still low-key kind of agree with, and the legacy of that discrimination that still permeates through all of our institutions, like how do you deal with that when motherfuckers still refuse to admit that it happened to begin with, or do everything to stop it from being to stop children from learning about it? Now, I'm not one of those people that's like, you know, oh God, you need to apologize for your whiteness. I mean, you know, I yell at black people quite frequently on this broadcast. My longtime black subscribers and community members, they routinely yell at me for, you know, speaking over people of color all the time. I'm not in the business of like treating people differently in any way, shape, or form. I'm also not expecting white people to be like, I'm so sorry for slavery, and like infantilize black people and otherize them and like walk up to them. I think that Michael Che actually had a really good take on this, unironically on his show. I have black friends. I did not say that. I mean, I do, but that's not what I was saying at all. So shut the fuck up, bitch. Anyway. So as I was saying, I bash on black people too. Oh, white? Yes. I mean, if someone is being fucking stupid or if someone is being ridiculous, like I'm not gonna hold back. Anyway. As I was talking about though, like this notion that you need to engage in like performative allyship by going in this like incredibly aesthetic focused, overcorrective, like I'm going to polish your shoes, black person, I'm so sorry for racism, is again weird as fuck and not helpful even remotely, and absolutely zero people consider you to be like a good ally. Okay? Like black people think that that's funny as fuck. And other white people look at you and say that that's ridiculous as well. No one is expecting you to do this. Okay? Just acknowledge that systemic racism is real. Like, recognize it. Try to educate others. And advocate for solutions instead of getting in the way of it. You get dream stands and overcorrective chatters if you teach CRT too early, like other complex topics. Isn't it better taught in high school and college? What? No, you don't. What? You think critical race theory is being taught right now in elementary schools and that's why we have dream stands, dumbass? No, they have access to the internet and Tumblr, and that's what fucking created this like incredibly rad lib way of doing political activism or slacktivism on the internet. I am trans and it's Pride Month. It's a shame you are not showing support for us. What about trans rights, bro? Talk about Pride Month. It's a shame. What? Are you lost, chatter? What's wrong with you? It's got to be bait, right? It's a troll, right? There's no shot. What the fuck? Chatter doesn't know I donate to the LG. All right, let's keep going. Republican legislature across the country have passed bills banning schools from teaching CRT. Students should not be asked to examine their whiteness or check their privilege. Critical race theory is race-based Marxism. What? Dude, they're literally showing like Jack Posobiec tweets, dude. These guys are so stupid. Critical race theory has no place in our country. Many users on Twitter have praised the young father for the message he's sending to his daughter. Dinesh D'Souza loved this father, setting a wonderful example for a future generation. Dude, what is this? This entire article, this entire video is like agitprop, like super hardline. Yes, here, how leftist critical race theory poisons our discussion of racism. Did you just send me a heritage.org article? Like, are you okay? CRT is literally racist? Why? People are so fucking strange, dude. Like, acknowledging systemic racism does not mean that you're racist. As a matter of fact, avoiding or denying the existence of systemic racism is actually racist.
Teach our kids. So watch this video with this black father telling his daughter what is really good in the world. Check this out.
Daddy teaches you can be...
Okay, I'm not going to rewatch this fucking dumbass and his stupid fucking video, dude. This video was dog shit. Oh my God, it was so bad.